Hey everyone, Kevin here, and welcome back to my channel. I've been in a bit of a reflective mood lately. So, when I was thinking over those last few days before I left the classroom, and especially the days following that, I discovered that there was something, a feeling of sorts that I missed or haven't articulated before. At least, I don't think I have. But specifically, I realize now that when I made that decision to quit and then walked out for the last time, there was just this emptiness to it all, a feeling of nothing. I don't mean that I felt nothing whatsoever, because clearly I had frustrations, anger, and grief over leaving what I thought would be my forever career at the time. But most of that came the moment I quit, and then long afterwards. Eventually, I would find relief from all of those stressors and be able to release that negative energy too. In the immediate aftermath, though, I think a lot of teachers need to prepare themselves for the reality that there won't be any fanfare. There won't be any real farewells outside of a couple of kids and maybe one or two colleagues. There won't be any sense of vindication or joy over finally getting away from what you suffered under for years on end. What you will be feeling will be emptiness and a form of shell shock. Heck, you might even have PTSD like many of us did, and for a lot of reasons. You would spend all of your energy in the classroom trying to make the world a better place by giving kids better opportunities than you ever had and fighting the good fight to give them the best education possible. But as time went on, that burning flame began to fizzle out, and you got beaten down by a system that really didn't care about your well being. Another former teacher I talked to recently put it very well when she said that educators aren't treated like employees. They're treated as extensions of their own classroom, another whiteboard or desk instead of a person, basically. And I said something similar back in one of my most popular videos when I said that educators are treated like disposable objects rather than people, and it's why so many have fled the profession and aren't entering it anymore either. But when you leave the classroom, yeah, you'll have a lot to process, but you may not know where to begin because you'll probably be shell shocked. Education is a war zone these days, and when you, in essence, return home from the battlefield upon quitting, you won't know what to say or do at first. You won't know how to explain to other people what you've been through, and won't understand how to move forward, even if you already have a plan on what career or temporary job you want to do or try next. It reminds me of this scene from the end of the miniseries Band of Brothers, where one of the soldiers going home effectively says this exact thing, and his commanding officer tells him that he's a good man and soldier, and that the rest of it will come later. And I realize now just how much that applies to when you leave teaching too, and no, I'm not exaggerating by saying that. You won't really know what to say or how to communicate what you've been through since you've accepted a normal that isn't normal for so long and haven't been used to communicating with other adults before who aren't just using you as a mutual vent session about their students. So, learning how to talk with ordinary people in ordinary jobs without all that baggage will be a challenge for a while. And I'd like to mention as well that you're going to feel conflicted about the emptiness when you quit teaching. On the one hand, you're going to feel better that you aren't living in 24/7 sensory overload anymore. But on the other hand, you're struggling with a thought in your mind that says, I should be in the classroom. The kids need me, or something to that effect. But you gotta remember, that's just the guilt tripping and popping into your mind. In reality, there are so many things you spent countless hours doing and perfecting that you will no longer feel anything about. All those degrees that you probably aren't using anymore barely even enter your mind now. Your teaching credential, it'll eventually expire and you won't even notice. Your administrators and other teachers probably won't even say anything to you upon your departure unless they really need to communicate something. No one will really care that you quit, and they won't remain your friend or probably even acquaintance afterwards either. A part of yourself died when you locked your classroom door for the last time, and you're going to have to come to terms with the fact that you aren't going to be able to comprehend or process what you just walked away from until you get some space and hindsight. And on top of that, You're going to be searching for something which fills that void, where a job you valued, took purpose from, and saw as your identity once was. Yes, you'll eventually find what those things are, or have a good idea of where to start with that process. But in that immediate time period, teachers will often need to sit back, decompress, and spend a lot of time not only processing their career, but learning how to talk about it and grow beyond those negative experiences. But if I may, allow me to give two pieces of advice on how to start doing that. First, just talk to someone when you're ready, whether that be your spouse, a family member or friend, or an actual therapist. Just start talking. I've mentioned many times that most teachers need therapy of some kind, and the sooner you lean on your support system and get used to talking about your experiences, the sooner you'll be able to fill that emptiness with something new. And secondly, realize that void and empty feeling you have shows that you had nothing left to give. The kids need a teacher who is there for them, both from an academic standpoint, but also on a mentorship level. If you're shell shocked to that degree, you can't be what the kids need, and don't let any amount of guilt tripping from people tell you otherwise. I knew that I couldn't be that teacher anymore, nor the teacher I wanted to be anymore. It was time to leave, and I know deep down you felt the same way. But to end, I'll say one last thing. Your relationship with teaching was an abusive one, and processing that will take time. It's normal to have a lot of emotions about it for the rest of your life, and believe me, I still have so many about education and I share them here often. But at first, you won't know how to feel anything except emptiness and loss. And all I can say is embrace the emptiness and just think of it as life giving you a moment to reflect on, yes, what you've lost, but also time to find where you're going. You came upon a fork in the road and you chose a new path that you've never been on. So be prepared for the unknown. Just keep that in mind. Well, guys, I think that's enough reflection for one day. I hope you enjoyed or took something from today's episode that will help you moving forward because that was the goal. If you haven't subscribed yet, though, please do so. Every person helps the channel grow, and that supports me in these endeavors. But for now, I've been Kevin, and I will see you in the next video.